Hello again, welcome back. Here we are to, continue with SwiftUI and creating the calculator app. So in our previous video, we walked through the logic of the, sort of the order of operations, and we created sort of a truth table here, and then we pseudo-coded out our code, and we wrote the code in here. And when I left off, it was kind of working, but we had a couple small errors. How did you do at solving those? Let me show you what I did. I'm going to open up my content view here and resume my preview, and then I'll go to the live preview. So what I did was, I was kind of wondering like what's going on here. I actually had a solution, and then when I typed the code here, I did it a little differently than I did in my solution. So I was wondering like, what did I do wrong there, right? So what I did was I opened up the app here, and then I kind of watched like what was happening. So I can input a number. So begin input is true. And I can input another number. So now begin input is false, right? And if I hit the plus sign to add a number, I added the operation. If I type another plus sign, you can see it does 42. So we should not change, like the operation should not change, or it should not perform the operation if you choose a new operation, right? So that's a problem, okay? And then the other thing I noticed was that when I typed in an operation, wait, let me see here, what if I did that? Well, I actually noticed another problem too, but anyway, let's try and solve this. So essentially, like when you're typing in let me actually restart it again, right? When we're entering a number, say 21, and then I do plus 43, like that's working good. If I hit an operation, then that's correct. But if I type another operation, right, it shouldn't do the math again. So let's take a look at our global state. So I think part of our problem here is that if we have a stored value that's nil, we're going to store the current value, set the operation as a key, and then begin some input. Okay, let's imagine stored value is not nil, so we've already entered a value. In that case, we're going to do calculate. But what if you hadn't started entering a new value yet, right? Then you would be working off the same value, like the currently stored value, right? So for example, if the operation was plus and you typed in 21 and that was the stored value, if you hit the plus key again, we'd skip over this and we would add 21 to 21 and it would double the number, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put if begin input here, let's just say it's true, right? And if that's the case, if you have a stored value and begin input is still true, then you're on, like you've hit the plus sign, you've stored the value, but you hit another operation. So what we should do is we should say operation equals the key here. And if begin input is false, in other words, you had stored input was stored value is nil, you tapped a key, you converted the display to the stored value. So now maybe you've got 21 stored in stored value. And then we set the operation to plus, begin input is true. You typed 4 and then a 3. When you were typing the 4 and the 3, begin input became false. Now you hit the minus key. So we're in here now, right? Because stored value is not nil, begin input is false. And now we're going to run our calculate method, right? So that's going to update the stored value. It's going to do the operation. It's going to display the stored value by putting it in display. And then we're going to set begin input to true. The problem here though is we're still missing the operation because you typed a new operation key. So we should also update the operation to the new key. We need to make sure we do this after we do the calculate though, right? Because if we set the operation before the calculate, you would do the last key you pressed, not the one that you had pressed earlier, right? So let's save that and give it a try, right? And there's still a few more things. This calculator is actually more complicated than it looks, right? So anyway, this gets us started though. This should get a lot of things working, hopefully, right? So I'm gonna go back to my view here and see if I can work some numbers. Let's do 21 times 3 plus 21 times 3 is 63, so that worked, plus 2 minus, wait, plus 2, it did the, shoot, it did the multiply again and it missed the plus. Let me close this just to make sure that it's updating from my global state, right? So let's go back here, resume. So I feel like in that case, it could be missing the this operation right here. That was our key that we pressed, right? So let's give that a try, right? Let's go to our content view here, go to our live preview. Let's type in 23 or 21 times 3 plus, let's do plus 7, 70 divided by 2 is 35 minus 5 plus, yeah, that's actually kind of working. Let's see, plus 44. That looks pretty good. Times 1, I don't know, 74, right? Divided by 2, right? So this is working pretty good. So let's hold on this. I haven't tried the minus sign yet. Let's do times 3. It lost the minus sign there. So like I said, there's going to be a few more things that we need to take care of, right? So, and then also this equal button is not doing anything yet. So I'm going to leave you with a couple challenges. So one, let's, actually maybe that minus sign is working. I can't, divided by 2. It seems to lose the minus sign. That could be happening because of our conversion, right? The string converting to a number. So we have to make sure that we check that, right? And then also the equal sign is not working, so we should fix that. This all clear, also the way the calculator handles this is a little different, right? It has a clear and an all clear, right? So there's some things here that also need some attention, right? But we kind of have the operations working now. So these 4 buttons are basically doing what they should do. I'm going to leave the equal sign for you. Why don't you give that a try, and then maybe we'll continue in the next video, and then you can try and solve some of these other problems too. But we kind of have our basic, calculator logic set up. And again, the calculator is like a little deeper than it looks, right? So what I'm going to say is, spend some time with the calculator and watch the behavior of the calculator, especially the difference between the plus, minus, and multiply and divide buttons, right? Because these actually, they act a little bit differently as you type in numbers. So try that out and see what happens, right? And then when you do, see if you can implement those behaviors in your calculator, right? So, and follow the procedure we did in the earlier one, right? So, write up a truth table, add some pseudocode, and then follow up your pseudocode with actual code, run some tests, watch your code very carefully, see what happens, and then come back and try and, solve any problems, right? And then you might also, try out some edge cases. Like I know the calculator is going to have problems if we, try and divide by 0. It will have problems if we enter a number that ends up with an answer that's a repeating decimal place or something like that, right? So values that are too large are going to be a problem too, right? So, and again, we'll have to calculate for that. We're going to have to like handle that in one way or another, right? So probably something that happens here when we do the calculation, we'll have to figure out, hey, was the answer not a number? And if it was, what do we want to display and how should our calculator handle that, right? Is the answer here too large to display? If so, how do we want to truncate the number to show it, right? So I'll leave those up to you, and then maybe we'll follow this through in some follow-up videos and see what happens. Okay. So thanks for watching, and have a great day. Good luck with your Swift projects.